This idea that you put forward of a spark of divinity in every human being surely lies at the heart of the miracle of Western freedom. The idea that every individual has worth and dignity and standing.
It's the idea that killed slavery, right? Slavery is everywhere.
The greatest human rights movement of all times, so successful that it obliterated the idea that it was all right to keep slaves, let alone change the law. It changed the way the world thought, even though there are evil people who still keep slaves. And here's a rub. It was plainly led by people of profound Christian faith. There's no other way of putting it.
No,
Anyone who honestly, and that's truthfully looks at the history of that period can't get away from it.
Yep.
But because it doesn't suit the modern left's narrative, it's airbrushed out. Doesn't that in itself say something profound about our willingness to try and distort truth to suit our objectives?
It's hard to say what it speaks of. You know, it's hard. It's like the whitewashing of what happened in the Soviet states, you know, in the communist states in the 20th century. I mean, anybody who goes through that literature with any degree of care comes away traumatized, right? Shell-shocked. It's just it's everything the Nazis did on a larger scale. It's horrifying, and yet I see with my students,
50 or 60 million people who dared to disagree died?
Oh, well, at minimum, it was...
In their own culture?
It was something...
In their own society?
We don't know. In the Soviet Union, the estimates range from 20 to 60 million. And in Maoist China, the estimates are as much as 100 million.
Are our kids taught this in school?
No, not at all.
In universities? Why not?
Very... I think
you see, their societies, let's preface something. The modern fight, it seems to me, in many ways, is between what might be called freedom and fairness and equality. Equality sounds terrific. But we've actually seen what happens in societies where they set equality up as the ultimate goal. They became terrible places. How did that happen?
Well, I think this is
it
part
sounds
of the problem.
good.
Yeah, well, I think that's also part of the whitewashing is we can't understand how one of our primary moral intuitions, which might be fairness, let's say, can transform itself into something so utterly murderous when it's played out on a large political stage. And I think because we don't understand that, I mean, look, there's reasons to be on the left. There are temperamental reasons first. So a lot of your political preference is influenced, let's say, by your temperament. And a lot of your temperament is influenced by biological factors. So there are temperamental reasons to be on the left. People who are on the left tend to be higher in creativity and lower in conscientiousness, for example. Those are the two best predictors. But there's also practical reasons to be on the left. And one of the practical reasons are that human societies, which tend to be hierarchical, like all animal societies, or almost all animal societies, produce inequality as they go about their business. And inequality is actually quite painful. No one likes it. No rich capitalist walks down a busy urban street and sees a starving homeless person who's clearly mentally ill, suffering madly, and thinks that inequality is okay. No one thinks that. No one's for poverty, right? And so we have this moral intuition that it would be better if the downtrodden were lifted up. And it's difficult to discriminate between that and an inequality narrative. And so I think part of the reason that we can't face the lesson of the 20th century is because it's the left that mostly has to face the lesson, and they don't know how to reconcile their deep intuitions about the injustice of inequality with the fact that when you put that doctrine at work into operation as a political tool, you instantly stack up millions of corpses. We don't know what to do with that. And so we just avoid it. And that's, well, and then of course we risk replicating it, which is not a good, that's not a good tactical move.
Well, that's the problem. If we don't learn from history, we're destined to repeat it.